All right, fitness fans, welcome to a truly historic update. If you're someone who's been lifting weights, meticulously tracking your macros, and really prioritizing your protein intake, you are absolutely going to love this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a massive policy shift. The government's nutritional guidelines have finally, officially validated what the strength training community has literally known all along.
For years, we've been told by mainstream nutrition advice that we eat way too much protein, right? Well, the massive new 2025 to 2030 Dietary Guidelines for Americans just went through a dramatic reset. They completely scrapped that old carbohydrate-heavy MyPlate and brought in an inverted food pyramid that puts protein right at the very top. Basically, they just proved that the bro science you hear thrown around the gym is actually backed by real hard science.
Section 1. The protein myth is officially dead, and those outdated rules are gone for good. So, think about this. Ever since 1941, the standard recommended intake was this measly 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. But here's the thing. That old number was never designed for optimal health, and it certainly wasn't meant for building a strong physique. It was created decades ago purely as a bare minimum just to prevent a nitrogen deficiency in completely sedentary people. It was a floor, guys, not a ceiling.
Well, the new national guidelines just absolutely obliterated that old floor. They've boosted the target by up to 100%, establishing a massive new baseline of 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Right now, the average American is hitting about 1.2, which the new guidelines actually consider the bare minimum, pushing us to aim even higher if we want optimal health.
Now, you might be wondering, why the huge jump? Well, it fundamentally comes down to combating muscle loss and something called anabolic resistance. As we age, especially past 50, we naturally start losing muscle. Anabolic resistance essentially means your body's muscle-building switch gets kind of dull over time. You physically need a much bigger jolt of high-quality protein at every meal just to turn on that muscle synthesis. If you want to stay strong and independent as you get older, you absolutely have to up the dose. Section 2. Your new muscle math. Let's figure out how to calculate your actual intake. Okay, this specific formula right here is your new golden rule for maximizing lean mass retention and driving hypertrophy. You just take your target body weight in kilograms and multiply it by 1.6. It's a beautifully straightforward, science-backed equation to make sure your muscles have exactly the building blocks they need to recover from those heavy lifting sessions. So let's put that into perspective. Take a 90-kilo lifter, that's about 200 pounds. Under the old rules, they were told to eat just 73 grams of protein a day, which is nothing. Now, they need anywhere from 109 to 145 grams every single day. That is a night and day difference for your recovery and your muscle growth.
And here is a vital, practical takeaway for you. If you're on a cutting phase, or maybe you're using modern weight loss medications like GLP-1 agonists, the guidelines stress that calculating this math based on your target weight is absolutely critical. Calorie deficits will strip away the weight, for sure, but a high-protein intake is the only thing ensuring you're losing fat and not your hard-earned muscle.
Section 3. Quality over quantity. Because, let's face it, not all protein is created equal.
When scientists look at digestible indispensable amino acid scores, or DIAs, they're measuring how well your body actually absorbs and uses those amino acids. And whey protein is the absolute king here. It maxes out the chart at up to 150. Beef sits comfortably high at 112, while plant sources like wheat are totally left in the dust with a score of just 45. So, the crucial point we need to grasp is this volume discrepancy. Animal proteins naturally have a complete amino acid profile and super high digestibility. To get the exact same muscle repair from plant sources alone, you'd literally need to eat 50 to 100% more total food volume. Or you'd need to carefully mix and match different plant types like a mad scientist just to get a complete profile.
Knowing these scores, it's pretty clear why whole animal proteins remain the undisputed champions of efficient digestion and muscle recovery. I mean, eggs are basically nature's perfect multivitamin, with a score up to 119. Chicken is incredibly efficient. And if you are leaning toward plants, soy is essentially your best bet since it's the only plant source that closely mimics a complete amino acid profile.
Section 4. The saturated fat trap. And yeah, we're going to talk about a pretty major guideline contradiction here. All right, here's where the real boss fight begins. The new guidelines dramatically increase protein recommendations, which is great, but they also maintain a very strict limit on saturated fats. They want you to keep saturated fat below 10% of your total calories.
If you're eating a standard 2,000-calorie diet, that means you only get about 22 grams of saturated fat for the entire day.
Now check out this massive contradiction in the government's own policy. They recommend eating full-fat dairy, but just 3 servings, we're talking a glass of milk, some yogurt, and a bit of cheese, instantly hits 17 grams of saturated fat. That leaves you with only 5 measly grams for the rest of the day. There's almost zero room left for a juicy steak or cooking your food in butter.
So this creates a really serious puzzle for lifters. How on earth do we hit that massive 145-gram protein target using high DIAS animal sources without accidentally eating 30 to 40 grams of saturated fat and blowing right past those health limits?
Section 5. Let's build the perfect meal to optimize your gains and solve this puzzle.
Okay, here is your 3-step attack plan. First, distribute your protein evenly across all your meals. Don't just backload it all at dinner. Your body needs multiple spikes throughout the day to maximize muscle synthesis. Second, navigate right around that fat trap by prioritizing high DIAS, low-fat sources like chicken breast, fish, and whey. And third, fill in the remaining gaps with high-quality plant whole foods.
This plant power strategy, it's your secret weapon. Incorporating whole foods like lentils, tofu, and edamame serves a dual purpose. It helps you hit those sky-high protein macros while effortlessly dodging the saturated fat trap. Plus, the science shows that swapping out some heavy beef for these plant sources dramatically offsets the massive environmental footprint of a pure meat diet. It is a win for your body and a win for the planet.
Ultimately, the core philosophy of this historic policy reset and the biggest single takeaway for your fitness journey is simply to eat real food. The guidelines strictly warn against ultra-processed junk, heavily processed fake vegetarian meats, and added sugars. Get this, they want kids under 10 to have literally 0 added sugar. If you just stick to real, whole ingredients, you are setting yourself up for maximum health and performance. So the big question is, are you going to let outdated math steal your hard-earned gains, or will you upgrade your macros to the 1.6 standard today? Take a hard look at your current meal plan and see where you can optimize. If this explainer helped you level up your training knowledge, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and keep pushing for those gains. See you in the next one.